And good evening, one and all. Thank you again for tuning in to the live stream. Of course, this is Ashbury Art, and tonight we're going to be working more on my accessibility audit on my website, which currently my scores aren't too bad, but it's definitely nice to walk through this and show, hey, even if we're developing stuff, it can still be a little bit rough, and it's nice to make sure that I'm going over the basics and reviewing the information. Based on the last time, which would have been last Wednesday, that we worked on this, I ended off on navigation and wayfinding. So we're going to go ahead and move over to error prevention and states. And we still have another... I remember some of these tabs I said were applicable to my websites, but others were not. Like I know there's one whole one on this worksheet that doesn't deal with my website. I believe it was something to do with apps, which this is not a web application. That is something else that I'll probably try to get into in 2028 or 2029. It's not something that I'm looking to do today. So let's go ahead and get started. So, and as a reminder, this template and this course that I took, it took me over 40 hours worth of training to be able to do these accessibility assessments. And that was through level 11 technology. Again, I do want to shout out Megan Thomas, which I never remember to get her information up prior. This is also just a good time to see if she has a new event. She does not. The last one that she did of these accessibility assessments was on January the 27th, but I do know I was looking at her YouTube channel earlier because on one of my accounts I'm still subscribed to her, and I think it's on my career channel is why it's not on this one. I can change that tonight. I feel like she's also accessibility guru. Computer be good. Yeah, she's even doing it, but she's doing it from the side of a dev security scope. And she just uploaded her last video about 2 days ago. So, of course, go ahead and subscribe to her channel if you have a chance. And okay, now I'm done procrastinating. We can go ahead and continue with my website review. So, what the error and prevention states, interactions are present and meaningful. And this kind of goes with those personas that we looked at on Monday, where we talked about the different kinds of people that may be using your website. So groupings of form elements share a common group label. And let's see here. I do believe I have a form on my website. I do. So first name matches with first name, last name matches with last name, email, phone, and message. And I do have asterisks when they are required. And let's just see here. If I start typing in this in, it does give an error message, which is good. So I'm going to say usually on this one. Label and instructions are worded in text. That's true. Because you can think of, I believe her name was Marlissa. There was someone that had low visibility in the personas that we went over on Monday. And she said some of the issues that she would have is where websites don't have the little asterisk to say, hey, this has to be filled out. And the only thing they have is red lines. But she had some kind of color blindness where red didn't look like red. It was red, looked like brown. So she couldn't tell if there was any changes because from brown to black, that's not a significant enough change. So I'm glad that I'm at least passing that. And then labels and instructions are displayed in close visual proximity to other controls. I'm going to say usually. because it's probably not everywhere on my website. Information conveyed through sensory characteristics is also supported in text. I don't have anything on my website off the top of my head that I can think that is being conveyed through a sensory method. I'm going to change out these pictures. They're placeholders, but those are the only ones I could think of that are sensory. I don't have anything that has audio in it, like videos or tutorials yet. Eventually these videos will be on here because I've already started working on an outline of how this is going to be a redux. So we'll go ahead and say, usually, again, form errors are indicated in ways that don't rely on sensory cues alone. I can actually put always for that. Users are not expected to remember data from one page to another. I remember this specifically being mentioned. That's referring to, for example, if you have online banking and you're trying to sign into your website and you get that little thing and they don't notify you like, hey, this password expires in 5 minutes, giving you a countdown timer, giving some sort of visualization. I currently don't have anything where it's like, if you don't check out within the next 10 minutes, your cart will be empty. But that's what that would be in regards to. So for this, I'm actually going to put not applicable just because currently, as of today, that is not the way my site is being used. Contrast and legibility is next. So foreground and background contrast ratios at least 3.1. I'm going to put usually, just because going back to my pictures that I am not necessarily a fan of, that I just put in as placeholders. Yeah, no. This one right here is the biggest culprit. I know for a fact that is not 3.1. Even if I control shift C, which we all do accidentally when we're working to copy something, we're trying to control copy. It says this text is 0.7. The image is not. Actually, this does not work for me. But what I could, well, no, it could actually work. There is a way to make it work. So I'm going to exit out of this again so it starts doing that weird frame thingy. Okay, so the text color is a whole bunch of zeros. The image color does not say. I'm trying to think of what free resources there are that could extract a color from an image. Because I'm just thinking, what if someone didn't have access to Figma or something else? They're not going to be able to see the color codes, or hex codes is what it's called. Hex code checker. Free color picker. Why? Extract colors from any image instantly. That's good. Sure, do I have to sign up? Or can I just copy and paste it? Use your image. Okay, so I do have to download this image, which I'm okay with doing this. I think. Wet screen is... Ooh. Well, good. DaVinci Resolve is the only thing that pulled up in my downloads folder. Yeah. That's just an editing program. I'm going to get into doing the editing. I just haven't gotten there yet. I have quite a backlog of videos. There's a lot of ads. But still, you can do it for free. And it's not something that's significant. Like, I wouldn't drop a picture in here of a child, for example. Please make sure... Oh. Okay, I know a workaround for that, too. We're going to hit... snipping. I'm going to just search up my snipping tool. Open. I probably, y'all are getting relocated. The drink is going over here. You all are going right there. So that you're not hearing an airplane taking off because my microphone was way too close to the computer. Boom. And yeah, now it's not picking up every single last piece of that. And as you can see here, I did go ahead and snip it. I'm just going to try to save it on this side so that it doesn't show all my files on the live stream. Live and learn. Okay. Use my own image. But, well, yay, that's my stream schedule, which was available on YouTube. Hello? Good thing I got everything coded. Okay, so colors. And as you can see, this is free. And there are workarounds. So let's say this color right here. And then we need a color contrast checker. And I know that those are free online. There should be one, yep, WebAIM. That's a very popular one that I use myself. So foreground means what's in the front of the image. So that would be all the zeros for black. The background color, which in this image would be, for example, let's say that little dot with the crosshair. You can just copy this hex code, paste it over here, and we're at 3.01. And what I like about this one through WebAIM is they tell you it fails, it passes straight off the bat. Technically, large text I pass, and graphical text or graphical office objects I would pass. I do not pass it though for the basic guidelines. So overall, that to me says, actually, I'm going to change that comment to sometimes and make the priority major in my opinion, because I just need to change that background. Line spacing ends at least 1.5 paragraphs in block or text, or block of text, and twice as much between them. With it, I'm going to say that's 1.5. I know that this is. I'm going to say yes. Aw, she made it to 1,000 likes before she left. Thank you, Jen. Usually, I'm going to put that as a medium concern. And actually, I'm going to go back here and say, update the concern areas here. The ones that are rarely and sometimes are most likely going to be critical. Major. Or, no, that is not a super major priority. Welcome to the stream, gentle citizen. Hope you're having a good night. Okay. I'm going to say that the usually ones are a low priority just because right now I need to focus on a lot of things. We're going to put medium for pages have meaningful heading for each major section, because some of the stuff, for example, I fix the element in heading 1 to be same and similar, then I'm going to go and automatically start trying to fix having meaningful headings for each major section. So it is possible. And then these are not super high on the priority currently. I want to put them at low. If I sound stuffy, is because I am definitely starting to catch something. Have not caught it yet. Hopefully, I don't end up catching it. Okay. Language and readability. Changes in language within the page are specific in the code. I'm going to say yes, because I only have it in English. Container is laid out in short blocks of text to make it easier to read and cognitively manage. For this, I'm going to actually go ahead and go to my terms and conditions page, because this would be the best example, because we can think of the other persona that he said he could read blocks of text, but he translates it in his head to British Sign Language. So now I can at least go to it from the perspective of, well, if I had to go into here and translate it from one place to another, even though it's English and you can read it, are the paragraphs small? I'm going to say yes. Yes, they are. Is my copyright really out to 2035? Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to update that. I do hope to have the website for a very long time, but 2035 is just a little bit ridiculous. So, we're going to say usually. Important points are formatted into lists and are easy to scan visually. This I need to improve. So I'm going to mark that as critical. This, the content layout in short blocks, medium. And this, with the changing language, is not a priority because I always am doing that. Headings, buttons, and form labels are worded so they are meaningful to users. And not right now. So we'll put that rarely and we'll make it a critical so that we can go over that. Predictability and consistency. The purpose of each element is predictable and how each element relates to the system as a whole. So I will already go ahead and say I know I'm not necessarily doing well in this because I don't have a design system in place. I did find a Wix design system in Figma, which will be able to help with this as I go through this next rendition of my design process. So, repeated navigation patterns, I want to put sometimes. Select typeface are easy to read and render properly on mobile devices. Well, let's see. Let's go to ashburyart.com and check on my phone. ashburyart.com. Which, if I had this in a vertical format, I would totally do this. I'm going to try to turn down my brightness as far as possible, or I'll turn this brightness up, and I'm going to turn off this light, so I'm going to be in the dark for a minute, and we'll see. I'm going to attempt to do this. Nope, it's all white. I do need to make a dark mode on my website as a side note because this brightness, I don't normally do it. I would say the font, we're getting there. There we go. We could see it on camera. Yes, I call that a victory. Anyways, if it wasn't so small, because my poor friend, I hope she does not text me. Let me put this in airplane mode. But I went ahead and moved her a little bubble. You can see it is readable on there. Like you can see essence. Obviously, if I'm looking at my phone from here, I can read the stuff. Camera to camera, that's a little bit different. So we'll go ahead and call that a win. Both portrait and landscape orientations are supported. I'm going to put that at always. Let's see with the landscape. Thank you for all the likes on TikTok. Yeah. So when I turned it sideways, I want to say the experience was better because it's acting like the desktop website. And it's pretty easy to read. So I'm going to give that a thumbs up. Two. Well, actually, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say always for which. I'm going to put usually because the issue is there is a buttons issue where one overlaps the other. So this is pretty major that needs to be updated. This is not a priority. This is low. Time and preservation. Users are given enough time to complete their task. Yes. And do not lose their information if time runs out. Now, I haven't set up my cart yet to be able to send invoices to customers, so that will be a question and a test then to try to figure out how that will work. But again, I'm not at that point yet. That's down the road. I'll need to think about that. So right now I'm going to just leave this section unscored because that's not a part of the experience today. Let me go ahead and turn back on the slide. Don't know how much of a difference that makes, but still, movement and flashing. Elements on the page move, flash, or animate in other ways can be stopped and do not distract or harm others. I can already tell you, I'm going to leave this unscored. I don't have any elements, and we can go through and see. I don't have anything on here with this website that is animated. There's no scroll. There's no. Oh, let me flip through. I know what they're referring to, though. It's more of like if on this page I had a section that's like coming now, coming soon, this package, or flipping through my services. That's where I could see, yes, I need to worry about that and score that on my website. But even this section where it's about, okay, this technically is scroll. I lied on accident because I did not think about that section. So they have control to scroll. Actually, let me also too. Oh, I do have a skip content button. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. But that technically is a scroll. Technically. But it's not animated. And it can't be moved unless the person using the website moves it. I'm still going to skip that. And this is from someone else's web review, not mine. So let's delete this and delete that and delete that. Visual and auditory alternatives. So informative images are provided with meaningful text or alt text describing their content. I only have decorative stuff right now. So I'm going to put usually. Complex images are given alternate text and extend full text description. I'm going to say usually. Transcripts are provided. Hello, accessibility. Transcripts are provided for audio only and video only content. Not applicable yet, but I do plan to have a section where you could go to see my past. I'm going to start calling these webinars versus live streams. I just think that title makes more sense. So that will be coming soon. Synchronized captions are provided for pre-recorded videos. Not applicable now, will be in the future. Audio description tracks are provided for pre-recorded videos. Not currently, but that's because I don't have them ready yet. It's in the process. Okay, and with that, we have 3 more minutes tonight on the webinar slash live stream. So, way of finding an organization. Navigation is visible or easy to access at all times. I'm going to put sometimes because there should be, and I've tried to do this, and I will have to go back and fix it. There is supposed to be a home, this navigation bar across the top. But right now, everything is hidden in the hamburger. I think what was happening was I was messing with this when it was a mobile version of the site, meaning if I was just, I could have done this the whole time. It's okay. But when you have it this way, this format makes the most sense, where it's mobile or small. But when you make it bigger, it should be showing the headings. So I had to figure out how to get that. It's called a breakpoint when it's going from a wide screen to different sizes of screens. So I had to figure out how to do that correctly in Wix on my website. Breadcrumbs are available to navigate with complex categories. I don't currently have that, so we're going to put not applicable. And a breadcrumb is basically, okay, this link sends you to another section of your website that's applicable to whatever story you're telling at the time. And okay, now I have two choices because we're at 9:29. I started a couple minutes early. What I'm planning to do is I really want to be able to next week start on the work in progress actually working on the website. And I'm just looking at the last few boxes. We can get through this without having to do another recording. So tonight I am going to go ahead and push live stream all the way through till probably about 9:45, 10 o'clock. And then I will head out for tonight's. Well, also too, leave in the comments or leave in the chat. Do you feel these are more of like a webinar? Or do you feel like this stuff that I've been doing so far is more of a live stream chat? We'll have to figure out another title for this. Okay, so let's see. Visibility of system statuses. Response time of on-screen widgets are approximately less than 1 second calculated after the page and its elements have been loaded. So that's referring to if I was to switch a page, how long does this take to load? Pretty quick. I would say it's less than 1 second. So we're going to say yes. Actionable content is obvious. Content is present in a manner which makes sense or makes it property recognizable to the user. I'm going to say sometimes that has to deal with the copy on the website. I'm going to mark that as a major thing I need to work on. Filtering is easy. It is clear if a filter has been applied and what is currently being filtered. That is more for e-commerce website. Thus, I'm putting that for not applicable one because unless I'm going to have you filtering what services I offer, which that could be something in the future, that's not currently where the site is at. So, not applicable. Sorting in tables. I do not have any tables, so not applicable. There is a feedback for meaningful user interactions, such as a progress bar for widget interactions on the page or form submission, or when objects are selected or moved. So that is more of something that will happen when I set up my onboarding flow, because that's essentially when you go to fill out a form. If someone is providing you with a progress bar saying, okay, you have about 70% done, 80% done. I don't know if you've ever been on those surveys where you're like, is it finished yet? Is it ready yet? Having that is actually accessibility tool. Thus, I'm going to say not applicable for now. However, When I get to having an onboarding process that's on my website, absolutely I'm going to have a progress bar on there so that people know, okay, how much longer do I have to get this completed, to complete this form, for that all to be done. And also initial intake and offboarding as well. Progress is displayed through multi-page processes. Again, not applicable. Progress bars or other visual / verbal cues are used consistently through back end processes execution for progress that takes more than 2 seconds to complete. Again, not applicable now, but will be later. Content clarity and readability. Dates are clear for users, including international dates are formatted in a way that is intuitive for international users as well as local users. Right now, I don't have to worry about that. But that's saying, for example, don't sit there and put 7/7/2026. Or I should say 7/8/2026, because in the States, we would say that's July 8th. Or, yeah, that was right. July 8th, 2026. But if you go over to other countries, most other countries, it would be August 7th, 2026. So I get it. The interface uses fonts that are large enough to be readable on standard screens. I'm going to say usually. Because my booking appointment, I noticed when I use it on mobile, it goes from being the right size to the wrong size, where it's super small and super tiny. So unless someone has a magnifying glass or they zoom into it, which they should not have to do, I should be accommodating and doing that correctly. So that does need to be changed. I'm going to put that medium priority. The interface uses larger fonts for metrics and data. I don't have any metrics or data right now, so this is not applicable. Metrics are labeled clearly, which would detail information about data easily available as needed. Again, not applicable right now. Consistency and standards. So most important information is first or near the beginning of the page. I'm going to say usually. And put that low. Because I'm going to go through and redo the whole structure of how I had things set up. Visual prompts and or contextual messages are consistently located in the most obvious places, especially sorry, where users are expected to notice or enter information. I'm going to say sometimes. Selected colors correspond to common expectations about communication with color. I'm going to say sometimes, because we have that one area that showed that was a problem earlier. I will say though, I don't believe that this is going into color theory, because again, then we have people that have a visual impairment where instead of them seeing red as red, they see red as brown. So it kind of disproves, like, oh, color psychology, yellow means happiness, blue means this. But there are certain things like, okay, well, when someone's an electrician, you have a red wire and a yellow wire. This one means this one means that. So there are some universal color rules. And then the next spot would be placement, or at least you can see a range of shades for those colors. Titles and labels are grammatically consistent, and the point of view remains the same across the website. I'm going to say usually for now. Numbers, currency, and symbols are shown consistently across the system. I currently don't have any of these on there, so I'm going to put not applicable. Forms. Okay. We only have one form on here, but that's all right. Required format is shown when users need to enter formatted specifically. We saw that already. I'm going to say yes. Errors in informational messages have links for more information. Well, I'm going to say usually. Or, yeah, usually on a lot of this stuff, because I do have a second forum technically to schedule a service. And I haven't been through that in a hot minute. Request a book. I think this is a forum. Oh no, it's more like a Calendly link. Uh, yeah, and right now I don't have any services. This is a one-time thing at a library that I had, so I need to actually take it off of here. Well, I guess so. And because I'm realizing what this container looks like, it's a zero sugar sparkling protein drink. It is not one of those other type of after work drinks. Normally I have a big jug of water, but it's in a different room. Related and independent form fields appear on the same screen in all situations. Yes. Selected options are clearly indicated with help from some additional highlights. Fields being marked as default or labels consistently changing. This has more to deal with the research side because there are just certain research practices I do when I've created surveys, and that's not going to go away. It's just simply like, hey, I went to school, did this for at least 2 of the 4 years I was there. So I'm pretty good at setting up forms just because it's practice and repetition. Inactive forms are clearly discernible from active fields. Yes. Whenever field appears, they are always arranged in a reasonable horizontal format. For example, they're not turned at a 45-degree angle. That's correct. Obvious distinction made between choose one menu and choose many options. Yes. Forms given or forms give clear indication of the number of character spaces available in the field. For example, field lengths are appropriate and or instructional text is provided. Yes. Error messages are clearly worded and used consistently and traditional grammatical style, form, terminology and abbreviation. Yep. Error messages suggest the cause and solution to those problems. Yes, I do. Prompts and errors are expressed in plain language with no error codes or technical jargon. Yes, because keeping things at a there was some group or project that I was on when I was doing a tech fleet project, and it stuck with me to this day that a UX writer said you shouldn't be writing above a seventh grade level for people to be able to read, because what we forget sometimes is due to different circumstances, some people were not able to graduate middle school. So, and you want them to be able to use your website, make sure it's at least seventh grade reading level, if not a little bit lower, as a standard practice across the board. I don't remember which writer told me that, but ever since then, that stuck with me. I think it was even on Amped Up, potentially. I'll try to go back and figure out who told me that. Flexibility and efficiency of use. So, for all transaction sequences, this does not count for me in this section because I do not have transactions. Users are not asked too much information or more than they can or more than the bare minimum for task at hand. Currently, I don't have any tasks for them to complete, but in the future, users are able to customize selections, information or views to suit their needs. Again, not currently applicable. Information in fields for the user. Information is filled in for the user as much as possible. Not applicable. And I have to say that depends on what you're trying to get for the form, if that's what you're using for, because sometimes things do need to be left open ended. Aesthetic and minimalist design. Let's do another quick overview of her. I think she's pretty minimalistic. This is a little bit fancy and frou-frou. That's all geometric. I'm definitely going to be putting together a mood board. Most likely going to be offline just because it's easier for me. Not that you all are distracting, but it's easier for me to focus. Or I might do a focus hour because Friday I was not expecting it, but actually I don't have to go to my day job. So, since that's the case, I could do a relatively longer stream to try to work some of the kinks out of this website, but we'll have to see. And then Monday, I was expecting to have off because that is a federal holiday. So Monday, I could do something too. The interface is uncluttered and contains no or minimal decorative elements. I'm going to say usually because we did see that one page where I have stuff overlapping. So that's actually, we're going to say sometimes because that's a major thing with the design. So medium. Content is brief and concise, providing information for users to understand what actions to take. And let's say sometimes, and put medium because right now it's kind of thrown together. Okay. And finally, we are at the summary of everything. So it took us 4 weeks to get through it, but we made it. Overall usability evaluation. Oh, this is not the website that we're reviewing. I don't know why that says that. Disregard the person. Can I remove it? Yes, okay. It's not their site. So now we're at the end. We've gone through all the information. Of course, this has taken me about, if it's taken me 3 sections, it's been about an hour and a half. My website is not as complex, but this is also to give you an idea of the concept of, well, why do people charge so much for assessments or evaluations? It takes time. Now, is there probably an AI component somewhere where they can sit and say, oh, let me go and do this evaluation? Of course there is. Now, you're getting a free evaluation based on my understanding. It's typically you're just getting this first one. Not going in depth, not going over the essentials or extended. That's the way at least we were coached to do it. But if I'm doing this, I'm probably going to do all this for someone for free. I do value my time, but it's free with the acknowledgement that it's going to be with the package. Meaning I'm planning to build out your so many pages, do the evaluation, but I'm going to do all this hopefully before we have our first conversation. Because you already have a website that's built up, I want to give you all the information that you need, because if you don't like my service or you don't like the way that something's laid out, I want you to be able to go to someone else and get it. I never want someone to be felt taken advantage of because they didn't have a professional look over their stuff beforehand. Or something that I'm consistently seeing nowadays is a whole bunch of questions where they say, hey, I need someone to look over my website. Or constantly designers are asking for feedback on their designs and everything else. That's great, but if we don't do the bare minimum first, then it will cause issues for our clients in the future. And if we just keep passing like, well, we're just trying to make it to your vision, to this, and this, it can look beautiful but not function. So I just want to get that down first, and then we can evolve from there. Which is why I'm doing it with my own website first, so you can see how I treat myself, because I still believe in the fact of your hardest critic is yourself. So we did a hard critique of my website live in front of people with my knees a cracking. And as you can see here, the lowest scores I have are navigation and wayfinding. So that is the section here where we're talking about the pages. So that's definitely something where I need to start off with first. And I would prioritize someone's website this way too. I would say, let's do your navigation and wayfinding. Make sure that you got your headers consistent and everything else. And then the next one would have to deal with wayfinding and organization. So these two go hand in hand. If you fix this one, you will fix that one. It will trickle down, as well as with the visibility of systems and the aesthetic and minimalist design. It will resolve all the other problems. So we'll just start with this. But it is now 9:49. We made it through the evaluation. So next week, when we're starting the work in progress process, hey Pixie, I didn't see you join the stream. We will be starting with, I already have it set up slightly. Now it's just going to log me in, do-da. I love how I didn't do it under my career login instead of my other one. So next week on Work in Progress Wednesday, we will be doing the update of Ashbury Art. And I thought, I already have started somewhat of a sitemap outline and what I plan to offer. So we're going to look into this, and we're going to take these bones and start building out over here. I hope to see you all then, and that everyone has a great night though, and we'll get chatty. Tomorrow it's going to be Reddit Story Thursdays. And actually, I can tell you what the Reddit story will be. Get us set up. So the title of the episode is going to be Where Are the Real People? And let's pull up this thread so we have it up. And this is a question posed. As a small business owner, are there any legitimate web design companies? So we'll be making sure for when I'm putting some meat on the bones for that content of the outline of the sitemap, that we are presenting information where they see as, well, they'll see me as a legitimate web designer / builder. And that is all for tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in on TikTok, YouTube, and I will be eventually posting this stuff on LinkedIn. We're getting there. And of course, as you can see, I have a Facebook and Instagram as well. All of them you can find me as Ashbury Art. And I hope everyone has a great evening. Stay safe. Bye-bye for now.